What is happening, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Why Did I Buy a Mini Truck? On today's episode, we are going to be reassembling our heater core, and we're also going to be doing a bunch of HVAC stuff in here. Two reasons behind that. Number one, we have all the parts. All the blend doors have been resealed, which is awesome. I'll kind of go over this stuff here in just a minute, but the main reason we're going to be test fitting all of our ductwork and our blower motor housing and all of that fun jazz is I need to know where everything sits in here so I know how to route the harness and where we're going to be able to land our plugs so that they're accessible in the future, and they're also not going to be like bunched up or, you know, being crushed by anything that's bolted down. So I really need to know where this stuff goes in space in here so I can make sure that the harness is ran correctly. That is a big deal. So over here, you can see we got our brand new heater core. This thing is awesome. I highly recommend it. Here is a part number for you. This came from Rock Auto. Super fast shipping. I flow tested this thing already. It is awesome. Holds pressure really well. I recommend, I mean, you don't have to do it. Really, you don't have to, but I recommend if you can. You know, it's really easy to do. I have a setup where basically it's a loop. And then there's a plug on one end that you can open and close a valve, and then you can also apply pressure with just like a leak pressure tester setup, and it works really well. This thing holds really great and the valve works excellent, so definitely recommend it. There's that part number one more time. If you got a Hardbody, get one of those. You probably need it. You know, they're like 30 years old now. So this foam that I used is from Frost King. You can find this in your local heating and cooling section. This is some open cell stuff I had. They do have some more open cell stuff there, so you can get it there. And then this is a softer closed cell. Now this stuff works really well. I put it right here because I want to make sure we had a nice good seal here. Then this is some more of that closed cell stuff. Works really well. So I pretty much only put tape where I saw the tape. If I get everything assembled and I see that there's a place that needs more, we can always add it. But, you know, I definitely recommend if you're diving this deep ever, take a look at that stuff. Lubricate some things, you know. We're going to put a little bit of grease where these gears are. We're going to make sure that the moving parts are properly lubricated. Here's a shot of the larger Frost King stuff. So what it's going to look like when you get it. It's sticky on one side right here. It's kind of nice soft finish here, but this stuff you just push it down and it just comes right back. So stuff's really good. I like it a lot. And then this is the other closed cell stuff that I picked up. Stuff works really well. It's a little firmer, so just know that this is a little bit stiffer of a foam than this is. You could get this stuff in this size as well and do it like that, which I would probably have done in the future had I known, but I'm happy with how it turned out. I also got in the mail our 3-way valve. This is going to go on our rear axle and distribute brake fluid from our soft line right here to our 2 hard lines that run to our wheel cylinders. And then we've got our power distribution lug here. Now I did decide to get this. This is going to go in the engine bay. This is where the fusible links are going to land, and we're just going to run a larger wire from the battery up to here. I just kind of want to keep everything as close to OEM inside the bay. Obviously, you know, we moved the relay and fuse panel in here, and we've kind of semi-tucked some things. I mean, this is essentially what the engine bay is going to look like. You know, there's going to be some coil packs over here, but this is really it. Like, I'm happy with how it looks. So I'm going to try to land that positive lug on the firewall maybe, and then we're going to cap it with some rubber caps just to make sure no accidental contact anywhere. But I like to kind of tuck it. Maybe we'll run it like over this way. I mean, the harness naturally goes this way, so realistically it'll probably be over here in the corner, but we'll kind of see as we get to that point. Some more fun stuff we're going to be doing, not in this video, but just this weekend in general. I might film it, I don't know, it's kind of lame, but we're going to be cleaning up the dash and all of the interior plastics that I have, and we're going to be spraying them with a satin black. So I think it's going to look really good. If later on I decide I want to wrap some other things in either suede or that purple and gold diamond stitch, I will, but for now, satin black will be good. I'm basically just going to go through the stuff, make sure everything's clean and fresh, make sure we don't need any additional seals made, and then we're going to get this HVAC thing assembled. So I'm going to hop you guys on the GoPro, I'm going to get everything laid out, and we are just going to get to it. Alright guys, well I guess the GoPro was fuller than I thought. We got about 40 seconds of actual footage before the memory card was full, so I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys a rundown of everything here that we got done before we go ahead and actually get it in the truck. So I just kind of want to show you guys all the stuff we went ahead and got installed and cleaned up. You can see this looks a lot different than when we took it out, and that is because it took quite a few hours to get everything all cleaned up and get the overspray. At some point somebody had sprayed the dash, I believe, white, because all in here was white, all the stuff in here was white. I mean, it just didn't look good. So I'll give you guys a rundown, and let's go ahead and start here with the blower motor housing. So blower motor housing, I didn't really clean up the inside too much. I just hit it with some Scotch-Brite. It should be okay. I got a little bit of grease on here, but basically what I did was I used that thicker foam in here. It is a thicker foam, but it's softer. This will really seal well against the top portion of the firewall. And then on the blend door itself, we can actually go ahead and actuate it. On the blend door, I went ahead and used that slightly smaller but thicker foam. So you can see it just seals up nice everywhere. Comes back, seals the other side. So that came out really well. I still might take it back apart and clean this up a little bit more, maybe paint it, but I mean, you're never gonna see it. And I made sure there was no like debris left on it, so when I turn it on, it's not gonna be blown through, but we'll see what we do with that. Moving along to the main HVAC housing. So this thing was super fun, so we did split it. This is all of the pieces assembled, so this is for the floor. And basically what I did was I used that thinner but denser foam up here. This is where our vents are gonna come out for our driver passenger side. Got it all cleaned up inside of here. All of this stuff in here works really well. This was a fun little thing. So this is for our heater core on or off. So I mean, you can hear it's got a good seal. So this one passes through here, so you'll have a clip here, a little bump stop here, you'll have a spring here that's going to loop around this portion here and then come back and just act as like a little helper when you do go to actually open this up. It kind of helps keep it that way. We're going to put a little dabble of grease right here, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. If we turn this around, we have our heater core. So this is our brand new aluminum heater core. It is smaller. It's not as thick as the original heater core, so I went ahead and added a little bit of foam in here just to kind of fill it up. Worked really well. I did replace these hoses right here that joined the heater core to these brass pipes right here that we went ahead and cleaned up. Didn't go too crazy. You're never going to see these, but put a little bit of protective open cell foam on the back side of the clamps and just kind of polished it up a little bit. But this is the opposite side of what I just showed you. So when we have this open, our valve is open now. Coolant will flow through here and heat up our cabin. We flip it back this way, and this is now closed. So worked out pretty well. Let's go ahead and move on to the other side over here and kind of show you guys what's going on with that. All right, so we're over here, and you can see I did put some of that foam right here as well. That's just going to give us a nice seal for this part that drops down over top. Over here we have some lubricant on everything, but this is pretty much self-explanatory when you go to put it back together. Everything works as one unit, so your adjustments, as long as you haven't moved them from here, or even if you did, you can always adjust them, but I left these where they were and just disconnected them from these like lock retainers. Now there is a bolt here, and there's another bolt behind this. There's actually a plastic panel in here that transfers air from here kind of pushes it over. When you take it apart, you'll know. It took me a while to remember where it went, but I figured it out. I didn't take any photos, so if you do this, take lots of photos. So on here you can see this is our cable. This is going to control these 3 units. So down here we have a blend door. There's a blend door here, here, and here. And when you rotate this assembly, you can set them all in different positions. So this is going to be for like your floor, your upper vents, 50-50, that kind of stuff. So this was really cool. This was definitely an experience putting back together, but it's pretty straightforward if you just take your time. But getting them all lined up inside is the most important part. And then finally over here we have this. This is where our blower motor resistor goes. Now this is going to go from our housing here to this housing here, pretty much like this. And this whole assembly right here, we're going to go ahead and get back in the truck. I'm very excited because once this goes in, we're going to be able to make sure our wiring is going to be cleared, and make sure we don't have any issues with that. But also, there are some other things that get bolted here. So here and here, there's actually like some bracketry that goes there. So we'll kind of get a little bit more in depth when we get this installed. But once we get this in, it'll be really nice to see where we need to tuck everything in there. And then also we have the rest of the coolant lines. We have our radiator, so we're gonna get that in. I did a little bit of work in the engine bay. I'll show you guys here in just a second, but we got some goodies up here. So these 2 right here are our old studs. I'm gonna keep these 2 long ones, but all the other ones we got brand new hardware for, so brand new studs. I showed you guys kind of this stuff that came in. We got some drum brake stuff back there, valve cover gasket. We have all of our coolant hoses. That is our donor console switch, multi-switch panel that goes there, so it's like for your turn signals and your lights and stuff. And then let's go over here in the bay, kind of show you guys a little bit of the stuff that I've been working on. Nothing too crazy, but I have been cleaning some stuff up. We did replace some vacuum lines in here and also some coolant lines. I'm going to show you guys what that is. So if we start back here, this line right here is brand new. This runs down to our coolant hard line that runs through here. Now right here we have 2 new hoses. One goes from the line to our throttle body. The other one comes out, goes down here along the throttle body, under the fuel lines, and into our water neck. So basically coolant will come from there, flow through here into our throttle body, drain here, and then our coolant lines run back there. We do also have another brand new coolant hose right there that runs down to our block. And then I went ahead and put a new hose right here that runs from the hard line to this portion near our thermostat. So that's really cool. I do need to get a hose clamp, that's why there's some green tape on there. But you can see that the harness that we ran through here, it bolts right up right there. So that's nice. It's really secure. I'm gonna put another one right here just to kind of bring it up, but it's nice and out of the way. And everything's taped up, so hopefully keep our temp down right there. And then we do have a new vacuum line, and we have another new vacuum line to go down there. I did also go ahead and wrap up our fuel rail, just a little bit heat tape, nothing too crazy. Just kind of like how it looked in here. The engine bay is not going to get so hot that we're going to have an issue with our fuel being too hot. It's just something that I thought would look good in here. I did also do our brake master reservoir, since our headers are going to be right here. Now our headers are going to be wrapped with a titanium dry weave. So I'm not really worried with heat. Anyway, like I said, at this point, it's mostly visual. However, if you were to turbo it, we've kind of started the process of, if we add more power in the future, there's already some things done that we won't have to do, which will be very nice. So back here at the dash, we do have a little bit of stuff that we have to do to it still. There's some damage right here from some melted wires and a few little things we have to plug up, but I'm gonna get that prepped sometime this week so we can go ahead and get painted. I gotta get all the plastics for the inside of the truck, but that's getting a little bit sidetracked. Today, what we're going to be doing is putting all of this in here so we can figure out where our harness needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff installed, and I'll show you guys what it looks like, and hopefully we won't have any issues with how our harness is set up right now. If we have to make any minor changes, that won't be a big deal. We do have to go back into the harness anyway, change a couple things, and just kind of thin a few other little things out, but we'll get to that when we get there. So I will catch you guys in the next clip. All right, guys, and just like that, everything is back in here. I do also have the blower motor resistor just plugged in for now, so I can kind of see where it needs to be, but everything in here is bolted in. I did also go ahead and get the top defrost duct kind of in there. We're going to be pulling those out, and we're probably going to be dropping out this portion here one more time. So what I'm thinking about doing is I got the harness and everything laid out here, and I'm not going to make this a wiring video because really I just wanted to showcase the refresh on our HVAC assembly and then getting it back into the truck. But a few ideas that may or may not make it into a video are, I'd like to go ahead and route all of our harnesses from the engine bay through the hole right here that we were going to have before. So this obviously has to come back out so we can do that and then put the grommet on there, but run them through here. We're going to run them this way and then down. We're going to kind of put everything down here in this little footwell area. Now there is a lot of space in there, a lot of space, and we don't need it for anything. We can totally mount this down there. There's actually some threaded inserts, and if not, we can go ahead and put it on some well nuts, but we're going to put those under here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. We got plenty of room back there. Now I do know that some of the framing kind of bolts in that location and bolts back there, but if anything, that'll just give us more places to go ahead and put that. I'm really happy though with how everything turned out. Off camera, I am going to kind of go through this. We are going to be, like I said, getting rid of this extension here that runs to our fusible links. We're just going to go ahead and land that positive lug in our bay, and then I'll just run to that basically, and then we'll just run a larger gauge up. I think it's just the most effective way, the smartest way to do it, so we should be totally fine. Now that this is all in here though, I really need to get the dash frame and all the other bracketry that goes in here sprayed, so this way we have it all done, because some of that stuff needs to be bolted in before this goes in. You know, like the brackets that land here and down here, all that needs to be on here before we go ahead and actually finalize this. But I wanted to get it in here so we could see how it looked, and I'm very excited about it now. Another thing I'm talking about having that metal framework in here is this is the duct. So this duct will sit in here like this, and you can see it tucks right up there. Well, right here is a metal bracket that lands that, so we're going to need that in here anyway, and there's going to be another one up there at the top where that eyelet is. So we're going to get all that stuff landed, get all the bracketry in here, and then once we're all good with this, we're actually going to run the truck. So that will be after our fuel cell install video, which will be coming very shortly. Our fuel line should actually be here today, so I'm very excited about that. We can go and get rolling with getting this thing fired up for the first time since it's been down. And that'll also let us check to make sure we don't have any leaks in here, heater core, or any wiring issues. It'll be a lot easier to put a fire out if I can see all the wiring, you know. Not that there's gonna be one, you know, fingers crossed, but you know, on the off chance that there is an issue in here, it'll be a lot easier to see it without having the dash on it. So now that we got all that stuff kind of buttoned up, that's where I'm gonna leave you guys for today. Pretty cool seeing all of that stuff back in there. We're getting really close to being able to put the dash in, so I want to get the dash in there before we actually paint the rest of the truck, just so we're not trying to fit it in with doors on and all of that jazz and fresh paint. I think it'd be easier just to get it in here, make sure everything's very well masked off, and then we can just go ahead and do our do our paint work. We got quite a bit of sanding to do just on the cab itself, just the little areas that I want to fix. We're going to leave the engine bay alone. There's a couple spots I need to touch up, like down there where we landed a temporary ground, but we'll kind of get all that stuff sorted. We do also need to get all of the stuff in here, so we need to get the cable for the speedo in. We need to get the throttle cable in here. We need to make sure our grommets are all pushed up and make sure everything is sealed in here. I'd like to do that before we go ahead and do the paint, because like I said, once we do our paint, we're going to have our hood on here, our fenders are going to be on here, all that jazz, so I don't want to have any issues with that. I'm very excited though, lots of cool stuff coming. Got a bunch of stuff. I mean, we got so many packages and I just stopped making videos for when they showed up because so many were coming at one time. I was just opening them and stacking them, I mean, our new garage is pretty much 60% parts for this thing now. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's a lot of larger stuff. Like we got our radiator in there, a fan assembly, all of the fabric to do our interior, our whole interior is in there. Our new compressors are in there, our wheel and tires are in there. Like, so many things are ready to go. So really I just need to buckle down and get all this stuff done. So with that being said, I hope you guys had an excellent weekend. I hope you guys have a great week. And until the next one, peace.